Yes, giggle, I'm here. I was doing a thumbnail, okay? Okay, so I've meditated upon how I'm going to do these videos, and I was going to pre-record them, but energetically, when I tuned into Taurus, good God. So I have decided that all the zodiac signs on this occasion are going to be live, and that's due to the fact that all of us collectively are going to need to be extremely mindful. Now, we are moving into the aspect of the shadow of Mercury. That energy has already been coming through. Now, I've had a lot of downloads probably in the last week. Really, really strongly advise if there's anything you need to get done now, get it done. You may also be finding, and this is collectively, I'll get into the Taurus frequency of what's coming through. Collectively, what you need to understand is you might be sensing something's coming. You may be sensing that, and I kept hearing that March was going to be the catalyst, that there was going to be some things that were really changing. Hello, all. A warm welcome, and especially to those of you who are new, and thank you to those of you who continue to come back. Now, be mindful that if there's anything in a notion of paperwork, anything that requires energy, get that done. You are going to find it to be 10 times harder during Mercury retrograde. Now, yes, we do feel there is an aspect where we are going to be moving forward, but on a work level, on a contract level, anything to do with paperwork, anything to do with your mind and seeing things cognitively speaking from a non-egotistical mindset, it's going to be easier to deal with these aspects right now. Pay attention to your thought patterns as well and carry those with you through March, because sometimes, like, what I'm feeling is, and Mark and I discussed this, smoke and mirrors. It's because when we're in our ego and we're in fear-based frequencies and we're getting these downloads, there is going to be crosswise during this time. Now, the 1st of March is going to be very risky. So those of you who maybe have been on the fence within a connection or connected to a particular path, the 1st can really denote a time frame of when it's all or nothing. So never get fearful when you hear in a reading, oh, it means I'm going to break up. It's more for those of you who have got to that point where you've had it internally, but you've tried to settle inside of the situation and it's not completely boding well, but you're tolerating it, but you think you can go on like that forever. So, when that frequency is coming through, it's a very risky time for you on the 1st of March. It does denote a lot of us understanding how we have codependent patterns. Now, a lot of what is coming through with it is, can you be in a relationship or working within a team but be individual within your own right? If you can be mindful of that's where people are going to be coming from this month, you're going to cope. If you can't, there's going to be a lot of clashing of heads, especially with Chiron in Aries. You can look at it in 2 ways, and you've always got to look at astrology and your own life from the higher frequency and the lower. And we all hold different areas of that, all of us collectively. So you'll have moments where you're at the higher frequency. You'll have moments where you'll be at the lower frequency as well. If you can look at it from a self-awareness perspective when looking at the astrology, but not allowing it to define you, you'll cope. So one can look at Mercury retrograde, and that's only one aspect. I mean, really, I have to do a very separate video with the astrology because there is literally so much going on. You may also, with Neptune, see a lot more seismic activity, changes happening with the environment around us, and I am seeing that there is going to be a lot going on around everyone. Now, when I tuned into Taurus, it was very heavy energy. Now, if there's something you're dealing with in a 3D level, what is coming through is that a lot of people's opinions are really hindering you. Now, there's a lot of captains I'm hearing, and it's a lot of people feeling that they know what's best for you. The thing is, because you can actually grasp everybody else's kind of side of the fence, it's almost to the point where it's irritating because you're looking at it and you're understanding and you've got the compassion, which is definitely by mid-month, with the Pisces frequency coming through with the planets, Don't get to a point where you're a pushover. It's going to be very risky. There can be manipulation around you. There can also be a way where you're having to tolerate certain situations due to a home environment. But I am seeing it's almost like you're the fly on the wall and you're absorbing the information of life around you. And it's not one area, unfortunately. You know, it's for those of you who have children, it's in the home domain, it's in your relationship domain. It's funny because March has a mass potential for romance, but you know, if we're not in our truth about situations, all of us really probably from December moved into 2019 really dealing with the 3D. Now, all of 2018 we were dealing with the 5D, the spiritual sense, the internal sense, and healing. What's coming through and what has been occurring over the past few months and really moving through March is all the foundational work. It's all the 3D. Okay, what's blocking our path? What do we actually need to do to get to a point we can move through those obstacles? What is it going to take, and is that energy worth my while? Everyone is ever so tired with the purging. Now, I'm not sensing it in a sense of purging. I'm sensing the exhaustion from the internal work we've done moving into 2019 and looking at the magnitude of what needs to be done to achieve that. Now, with Mercury, it is going to mean that anything you're wanting to achieve, there's going to be a pause on it. It's not to say you can't achieve those things. If you've placed the foundation and you've done the internal work and you've got that movement, it is going to bode well. But if you haven't, Mercury retrograde is going to show you where that's not balanced. In love, I do feel, especially with where the moon is and Venus, the way you're going to be looking at things can be very practical. So again, that kind of takes the undertone of romance away. But at the same time, the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn, all of us collectively are looking at family. And I kept seeing for the last few months the scales of Libra. And this really does, the energy that's coming through almost feels like Venus retrograde, but it's not. But with the Mercury energy, what I'm seeing is we're needing to, and especially for Taurus, because your placement at the moment moving through the year with the Uranus transit, what's happening in your life now is showing you where, to a degree, you've been giving your power away. You know, what means more spiritually to you and what is worth your time. So it's like it's almost like a blackboard and it being wiped, and you looking at it and going, okay, the thought process I had previously may have been relevant, but right now the where you're standing, you're looking at it, and it's like you've got the scales in every area of your life, and you're really in assessment mode as to, are you that committed to that given path to put the additional effort in? And a lot of the total eclipse is showing you what it's going to take to end old patterns. And I'm seeing March as a karmic end. But the karmic, you've got to remember, you know, internally, when we're in self-awareness mode, the karmic energy is directly created due to us. So on our own side of the fence, anything that we're directly attracting is something of a lesser nature and something that we need to grow beyond that fact. So when we're doing that work, it's actually, if something's coming towards you, it's literally because your energy needs to learn something. It needs to purge it and release it. And there are a lot of trigger points happening at the moment. I mean, at the moment, this week is going to be semi-quiet. You could literally call it the calm before the storm. You're going to be looking at your relationships with people. You're definitely going to be looking at the connections and how you interlink with it. At first, I feel that you guys are going to be maybe feeling quite challenged and overwhelmed, like you've got a lot on your shoulders. But then I feel you're going to come to a place where you're going to realize the suppression is what liberates you. Because, you know, by having those burdens on your plate and having people project at you, which is really going to be happening this month for you guys, it actually helps you liberate and use your throat chakra correctly. But it's also about you choosing what's right for you. You know, many times we tend to think, when this person's ready and they move towards me, when this comes about, it's all going to be balanced. And it's always shifting that goalpost. So you never quite feel you've fulfilled your destiny because it's always something external where you physically have no control. It's actually key pointing the parts in your life where you're willing to go that extra mile because spiritually speaking, it's what your truth is. And it's really about being in the truth of where you are. Now, as I mentioned before, what you're going to need to do is check in with your thoughts in this next week and really know that any decisions you're going to make during March, base them on what you previously believed. Now, if some sense of clarity comes through that's complete opposite to that, try and delay making major decisions till after Mercury retrograde if you can. If you can't, try and go back on what you do know, not what the ego and, you know, the crosswise is causing. It can be a time when information comes to the surface and home truths are spoken. But again, we've got to be careful the way we're communicating. I do feel financially speaking, you guys are actually looking at dynamics that aren't working. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people that are, you know, in businesses and they're trying to get the ball rolling with that. There's too many things happening for you guys, and I'm seeing almost like a circus act. I also feel that there are a lot of whingers around you and they're complaining about things, but they're directly not helping you with these dynamics, and that's causing a lot of conflict as well. So when it does come to people's opinions, I'm seeing a mother or a father frequency and a home-related environment being part of a problem. And this could be coming up energetically to be assessed. The feed isn't working, Google. Can you type a message? I'm just checking if it's actually following through. I don't want it to jam because we've got the shadow aspect of Mercury retrograde, so it's going to be problematic at the moment. Cool, it is working. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't frozen. I'm tired of looking like a lizard on the camera, but not that I really care, but it's not helping the information get through. Okay, so what has been coming up? I had to literally write notes because during the videos that I was doing, I pre-recorded them, okay? Now, in it, the vibration that came through was a very common theme. There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of anger. This can be due to the situations happening around you. You may also be experiencing nausea. Something may literally make you feel sick to your stomach. I'm also seeing headaches. So if you're really in your third eye a lot, try and allow the information to come to you and not try and problem solve. There's variable ways your life at this point can go about. But some of it is outside of your control, but you need to focus back on where it is in your control, okay? I'm also seeing you really looking at things and going, okay, you've been compassionately understanding every person, but you haven't actually verbalized what your want is. And that's part of the problem. Unless people can see, you know, a lot of times we can go to family or we can go to co-workers or whoever it be. And if we're sending a particular frequency through, they're believing they know what's best for you. And especially when you're undecided about what way you wish to proceed forward, what happens is blocks happen in your road. So it's really important to have that little bit of time this week to sit back and do some reflection. And really sit there and say, okay, what is in alignment, what isn't? Now, like I said, we're going to have to get used to, and especially for Taurus, that stability does not come from external. On the 3D level, yes, our belief system is when we have a home, when we have money, everything is fine. But unless we have that home within ourselves and we know our truth, nothing is going to feel balanced. You will literally, if you can find that home inside, that is going to be the only access for 2019 that you're going to need. But you've got to hold on to the internal of who you are. Because this is going to be a bumpy road for you guys all the way through the year. It's a huge path to enlightenment and liberation for you guys. Everything can turn out fantastically, but it depends on how you directly relate to the situations. You know, don't feel there's nothing you can't handle. And definitely when you're looking outside of yourself and you're looking at life 3D, it's directly impacting and blocking you. Some of you have an opportunity to start a business. Some of you are working in a business, but you've shifted your energy into other areas. Even if that business isn't successful, there is a solution inside of that. So what you've got to do is actually stop and look at what you've learned and take that and reapply it to a different situation or fine-tune that given situation. Because I am finding there is a solution, but it's something you've overlooked. Some of you may choose to actually start a home business. Again, it's going to be problematic to get it off the ground in March, but it's not to say that you can't do the meditation about it, which is really positive. It can be a time when you can really meditate on what is and isn't working, what you're wanting to manifest, what you're wanting to create. But with work and home at the moment, everyone collectively this month is going to be assessing that. Okay. You've got to be really careful in your partnerships. Now, I am seeing an old frequency present. Some of you are going to be where you've left a situation and you move towards another one, and you felt that was the deep connection. It can be a time when you're really getting into your head and you're thinking, hey, have I done the right thing? Those of you who are already partnered, and you can take on either energy because there's two frequencies coming through. There's one in which you're looking at it and you're missing that person's energy being an old way. And it's like you're holding on for that point for that to transform over. But there is a potential for those of you who left a connection, and that can be a while ago, it can be years ago, this person actually resurfacing. Now, even at a frequency level for them returning, into your third eye, it's because something in a sense of your external world is mirroring that other person. And that's when it's coming back to you, where you're looking at the situation, you're going, okay, how does this directly relate to me? How can I look at this situation and what lesson is this showing me? It's because too many hands were in the pie telling you what you needed and what was best for you. But you've got to come back to yourself and say, okay, what exactly is best for me? Okay, there is also an anniversary for those of you who this is relevant, where there is a person who's passed over. The veil's going to be quite thin. Now, what you will find is you may, for those of you who are visuals and intuitives, you may actually get signs and synchronicities connected to your loved ones who have passed over. That's collectively, but most definitely for Taurus, I'm seeing a frequency connected to a person who's passed over. Now, this person is spiritually helping you during this time. It doesn't even have to be that you met them at childhood. They're directly, it's like they're a guide to you, but they're linked into your family. You've got way too much on your plate at the moment. Everyone is dumping their responsibilities on you. And I do feel, how do I put it? There's a lot of projection. Don't try and be the bigger person all the time, because it's almost like I'm hearing Bob the Builder, the go-to person. Yeah, here you go, have our problems, sort that too. That, after a while, that's really going to cause a lot of throat chakra issues for you guys. If you feel a trigger point in a particular area, now is a perfect time to get some crystals to cleanse your house. If you've been going through a mad frenzy of clearing the deck, which I think a lot of the feminine energies are going to be doing this, a lot of the masculine energies are also cleaning up their life and having that sense of direction. And there is a rushed energy to get these things done. The financial adversity that will be coming up is a fair-based frequency for you. What you'll find is both of you can work together as a team, or you directly are going to be able to handle this. But I think through March, you're literally going to step back and go, wow, I can't believe how much I've handled. And it's going to give you closure connected to some of your fears of your environment. You've got to really check in with yourself whether, because the song that was coming through for you guys, and it's interesting, tuning into each zodiac sign, there were songs coming through. One was Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River, and it's like somebody is complaining, but you've already lived through a given situation, so you already know how this goes. And when you're looking at it, It can be a lyric inside the video that is going to have a direct message for you connected to the whole month of March. I do feel there is going to be movement in your home environment, but that's it. It's due to employment, though. I do feel it's either employment is changing or home is changing. And that can be connected to a partnership. It can be you directly. But there is going to be movement nevertheless. Now, in your work environment, it might be for some of you guys you haven't actually got employment yet. For others of you, you're not quite getting out of it what you thought you were going to. Now, some meditation had come through in a sense of direction of where you were going. And with that frequency, it's like it hasn't quite come to fruition. Don't be hard on yourself about that, because as I said, a lot of what's educating us in astrology and through this transit at the moment is get the foundation right. You know, generally speaking, if you aren't supposed to be in a particular location or a job, 9 times out of 10, when you're going through an awakening, everything you require will be given to you and you will make it through. It's frightening, but in releasing the fear, it does come to a point I'm seeing for you guys. It is coming through for you and it is connected to divine timing, but it's when you release that fear-based frequency. Some of you will remain in the environment currently, but March is really going to show you what is working, okay? At a financial level, you do have major plans. Some of you are looking outside of yourself thinking it's the only way you can achieve it, but the interesting thing is it's going to be coming from you. So, and this is part of your energetic lesson this year, is to actually realize that a lot of what you're going to achieve is achievable and it's through your own hands. You're really going to have to follow your gut when it does come to your finance. Be very careful during Mercury retrograde. Now, again, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a doctor, but what I can tell you, it's a great time for selling. So if there's anything you want to get rid of, you know, get rid of it, clear the decks, start putting it on, you know, social media to sell or whatever, you know, however you feel relevant. If you're selling a home, again, it is a good time to do that. Read your fine print with contracts, read through your bank statements, make sure you be very careful with your paperwork. Do not throw your receipts away. Caution with vehicles, caution with transport. Really don't take your eye off the road. It's not, because our concentration levels can be skewered. Also, be very mindful to create an environment to go to during this month to get grounded. Now, I was talking to Giggle this morning, and I did say, you know, we need to find an environment we can go to when we're triggered. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because if you go to a wide space, when one goes into hermit mode, what happens is, you know, we need to feel safe and nurtured. Now, that can be out in Mother Nature or it can directly be in a room. Make sure that room is a neutral ground so that you can clear the energy. It's neutral. You can open the windows and freshen the air out, but it's your go-to quiet place. Don't get to a point where you, how do I put it? If you're triggered, don't address a task. Step back, remove yourself. Try and... I'm live. Why? Whatever. So try and get to a point where you feel as grounded as possible. Now, with your family, you may feel lackluster. Now, this can be, again, for those of you who are surrounding yourself with people that maybe aren't seeing eye to eye with you. You won't see something coming. Something out of left field is going to come. At the same time, I am feeling, even if you do use your intuition, you're never protected. You quite not know what to expect. Some of you who are living with a family member, it's not feeling balanced. So there may be a change within the home dynamic. Either you move out or the party who's there is going to move out, but something's not balanced. It can even just be merely moving furniture around, but if you're going to do that, do it now. Generally, if you find yourself moving furniture around quite a bit, what does tend to happen is you find that it's showing you that something's off kilter, something's not balanced. So pay attention to that frequency. Now, the conflict that's coming through and what you're going to experience is A, you're not communicating your truth, or B, people are BSing you and that's going to jack you off, okay? things are up in the air. There's too many balls in the air. There's too many things that are getting lumped on you. Some of you are waiting for communication, and that's driving you batshit crazy. And what you're not seeing is a lot of it comes back to you taking the bull by the horns and saying, no, this isn't what I want. And you don't have to be aggressive with that. It's just being in your truth and your frequency and addressing that heads on. Now, what was coming through for this relationship, and this is really interesting, most of what's blocking your path right now is the 3D and things around you. I don't feel a sense of an issue with the person you're romantically connected to. Health-wise, yes, I do. It's either they're energetically having an upgrade or they're unwell, ill. And I do feel an aspect of depression currently. But again, that can be the dark night of the soul, or it could be a 3D-related situation that's directly correlating with their life. You're aware of the reason why they relate in certain ways, but make sure you're choosing what's correct for you. I feel if you shift your energy onto you temporarily, it's going to balance everything out. Personal boundaries are very important. Now, it might be that other people are interfering in this connection. It can be that your partner's not respecting the boundaries. And again, I am telling you, if you're at that frequency where you're unhappy in a connection, the 1st of March is going to show that, and you're going to have to be super cautious because we're all moving into March being very independent and almost feeling like we wish to liberate ourselves. And in liberating ourselves, what can happen is we can get quite assertive and aggressive when it does come to the person suppressing us. So if you're in a codependent relationship and that person is really trying to keep you in a certain way of being, it won't work. This will be very harsh lessons on both sides of the fence, and it'll be something where you wish to sneak away and avoid it, but universe, and especially with the transit of Saturn, Jupiter and Uranus, it's going to push you to a point you will have a bit of throat chakra, potty mouth. So really watch for that. If people aren't respecting your relationship and your personal boundaries, I'll see you biting their head off. And especially if it's a path you're walking down and you feel it's correct, you need to, you've got passion for your path. You know where you're going. And it's almost coming back to a point where you say, I'm sick of what people's opinions are. I'm standing in my truth. Look at how she's hunched over. It's almost like feeling you don't have that right. It's standing up straight and owning that. And even in the way you walk, you can really balance that chakra to a point where you believe what you have. You believe what you've got. You believe in the path that you're going down and not allowing anyone to condescend you. Again, I'm seeing home environment. Some sense of a home environment needs to change. Now, this can be the family. It can be conflict with family. It can be maybe you're not feeling quite at home and you're still trying to ease yourself into it. It can be changes within your family life as well. It can be additions. It can be new people coming in. It can be the way you're living needs to be fine-tuned. It can even be your partner changing to a point where things are moving around and making you anxious. But I do feel for those of you who are in an unhappy home environment, that's changing. I do feel some of you are also wanting to purchase a home and you're sort of feeling blocked. This is going to give you a time to meditate on what you both need to do to be able to achieve that, for those of you who are in a connection. You also need to get grounded. So I am feeling within the relationship, it's not so much there's an issue right now. I'm more feeling all of us collectively are really addressing our side of the fence. That in order to have that healthy foundation within connections and the road we wish to go down. So if you're not in communication with someone, especially a twin flame, try at the moment not to take that personally. And the reason is we're trying to get our foundation right, and that March is going to be really hectic. I mean, from the download of what I've got, you're going to really need to be mindful of the people around you. They can become quite aggressive, quite triggered. So if you need to make a booking and you need someone to help you get grounded and you feel that might be something that you're moving into energetically, book a reading, even if it's just to purge and express. Know that you've got that there, or have that go-to number that you can have this month where, as I've mentioned before, you've always got the phone and you're going down the list and you're saying to yourself, okay, yes, but that phone number there, I know what they're going to say and they're going to be jerks. Well, you need to not have that as your emergency contact, okay? You need the go-to person who you know will listen, will understand and not judge and help you have that clarity. So have that go-to situation to handle it. You might also be seeing where your partner's not addressing certain areas, and this can be triggering you at the moment. And again, the only way to handle that is to let them learn, let them fall, let them deal with it, and you follow your side of the fence. You may not be as tolerant moving into March with this. So be mindful that we can clash heads with things. Now, moving into the middle of the month, I will try and do an update. What I am seeing, however, from the 20th all the way through to the 31st is going to be very interesting. It's a time frame where we might not be seeing eye to eye. It's also a time frame where it can actually be more romantic, but again, I'm seeing Venus retrograde. Be truthful about what you see. Try not to get in the lower frequency of the Piscean energy, because we're going to have the moon in Pisces. Was it Pisces? Yeah. We're going to have Mercury in Pisces and Venus in Pisces. It is transferring over to Libra. The moon, that is. Just be mindful around that time. It's not going to fit, especially with the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn. There is a lot of sensing things. There can be manipulation going on, and you're not going to have the compassion for it. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you feel that the person can do more and they're not, or they haven't communicated with you and they're not moving towards you, that can frustrate you. I am feeling most of what's going on is directly correlating with you owning your power. I do feel you may also have conflict with a person who has an opinion about what way you want to go. Some old wounds are going to come up as well. You've got heart chakra. So you know what you want. Follow what you want. Do some heart chakra work. Some of the energy can be coming up with your love interest. I do feel a private conversation coming up with them. Those of you who aren't in communication, again, I'm seeing this person coming back from the past. Whatever is going to be triggering you this month is going to help you let things go. Now, they can be going through old situations with the person you love, but don't prevent the healing. A lot of times we tend to get to a point where we're trying to keep ourselves safe, and we prevent opening up and taking that wall down. The wall actually isn't anything to do with them. It's got more to do with you, okay? Now, with that energy on your side of the fence, what you'll understand is if you can come to a healthy place, you know you're okay with them, you're okay without them, you have your compass. And again, that's what I was saying. You've really got to come home to yourself. For those of you who left one situation, ended up in another, I am seeing you having a little bit of conflict with the current person. This old energy is going to come back at left field, and it's going to cause a bit of a storm. And you're going to be almost like, you know, with which one's my twin flame? It's sort of that energy going on. It's like, okay, where am I? What is this energy right now? Have I not seen this correctly? Or it could merely be a pattern that is occurring with both individuals, and it's really taking you back over old ground, and it can be an old trigger point coming up. I also feel you'll feel quite alone to a degree while you're processing this information in your mind, because there is a great deal of meditation, but you're stronger than you think. I do really feel people better watch out, because, I mean, Taurus, you guys this year are going to be massively liberated. When it does come to romance, you're being very realistic, though. You know, you're like, I know what I want. I know how it needs to look. But it's almost like other things are coming up in your life for you to address. And be very careful for romances connected to work as well, you know, because I can see conflict happening there. I do feel, you know, you might feel a lackluster with a given path. And I feel this is overall energy. You feel worn out. But at the same time, I'm seeing and sensing as if this it's all the situations that's going on right now. This is how, you know, March is going to make you feel lackluster. I will do an energy check in mid-month, providing Mercury doesn't stop me from getting on the internet. And I am going to do an astrology update when it does come to what is very separately going on, any downloads I have psychically. Any questions while I'm here, and I'll tune into anything I've directly missed. Some of you also have like a large travel plan. Any questions? Yeah, it's like I'm saying travel, long distance travel. But look, really be careful this month. I can actually see you blowing your stack. And it's because of the pressure that everyone's got. It's a great time, Sharon, to actually meditate upon that. You know, yes, if you're spiritually connected to it, yes, it will, because you'll put the hard yards in. You know, generally in business, I mean, this is my 3rd year. You have your ups and downs regardless, because it's like a contractor. But you will fail when you first go into it in slight ways, but they also create new solutions. So it's trying not to look at it from the point of view of what you're going to lose out on. What are you committed to putting in? You know, what can you potentially add to it later? And not overcompensate. You know, sometimes we overcompensate and we're wanting it to look this perfect thing when we're first going in. You know, network, talk to other people doing the same, you know, thing to really get that information down packed. Yes, you can. And 9 times out of 10 with it, you do actually kind of look like, I can't say you don't look like brother and sister, but you have this energy where you match. Twins with karmics, is that ending? Currently, the karmic is actually you. You're blocking it. It's funny because a lot of meditation come through with that, and I had a realization that as soon as I released everything, the communication come back in. So it's almost like if you look at yourself as a clock. The divine timing is you. Are you ready? So if you can literally let go, most welcome. If you can let go and accept things as they stand, it's like what if as is with the memory and the history you had, if they come back today and said, right, we're moving forward, let's do this. You know, how would that make you feel? And that you had to jump in with all your walls down, would you be prepared to do that? And a lot of times that's the blockage in the movement forward. And are you able to let go? Are you able to be okay with or without that person? Yes, I do feel by mid-month. They're getting ready to liberate themselves. It's going to make you sick this month. Now, when I say sick, it will make you frustrated. Like, how have I been doing this? Why have I been tolerating this? And it can even be towards yourself. Okay, so the frequency can jump back and forward. Okay, yes, when I focus on myself. Yeah, they do, but you find you even disconnect from that, because even seeing them is because you're shifting. So it's almost like the synchronicity sometimes can energetically be sent from counterpart to take you back over old ground. So reshifting your energy back onto you and seeing that the synchronicities don't have to directly correlate with your TF. They can be connected to your path as well. The new channel that I launched, I had some meditation, you know, in relation to how I'm going to balance everything, because obviously I'm back in reunion with my TF. But looking at life and how it's changing, I am actually going to be changing that channel. So the Twin Flame videos are going to be back on this channel. And the channel for Twin Flame, what I'm going to do is gradually start blogging and talking about my path and what's happened. I'm also going to do the numerology. I'm going to do animal totems, and talk about every aspect of TF journey on there. And that way, if you need to go to it and you need to find ways to balance, to tune in, to meditate, what downloads mean with it, how to navigate your path, it's all going to be on that channel. Okay. Yeah, but sometimes with our heart, it's like, do we need someone? Even that, coming to that place where you feel really comfortable, and the detachment is what creates opportunities. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you for being here. I will do another one. I'll probably try today and do 3 to 4, and I'll do more tonight, which will be your time tomorrow morning in America. And I'm going to pump through these, but they're all going to be live. I'm going to have a brief break to have some lunch, and I will come back. That's okay, Rebecca. Say hello to my niece. Sophia, hello. Auntie says hello. Okay. Back shortly.